Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chickanic. I hope everybody's having a great week. Today I am mad and I thought I would let y'all know why. So hopefully y'all don't get screwed and I can save you some time, money, and frustration in the future. So story time. Today I had one of my commercial tree cutters come in and he brought me 5 chainsaws. Now while he was waiting, I went ahead and fixed 2 because I don't want him to be out of that many chainsaws at one time. And one of them was a quite simple repair, something that happens all the time to these Stihl chainsaws. Let me show you. Now, this is not his chainsaw. I fixed his while he waited. I have an MS-251 that I'm using for this demonstration. He had an MS-271, and the design is exactly the same. Now, on these particular units, Stihl decided to make a throttle trigger rod, a rod coming from the throttle trigger. It's that silver rod you can see right there. And let me see if I can get in here. And it goes back to this corner here and has like a 90-90 on it. Okay, so whenever you hit your throttle control, it turns that end of the rod upwards and engages your throttle. Now, I want to get in here. See that little plastic piece that rod stays in? They are notorious for popping out of that little plastic bracket. I don't know why they invented it that way. Whoever did it, terrible design. So nobody ever realizes that that's their issue, because whenever the machine stops working, it's actually the choke lever that quits working, because if that is not working correctly and it's popped out of its slot, you can't engage your choke. So you're looking on the left side of your chainsaw thinking something's wrong with your choke mechanism, when actually it's your throttle trigger lever on the other side. Now, it's a simple fix. You just pop it back into that plastic piece and yeah, it's probably going to do it again, but it'll get them going today. But I had to remove the air filter so I can get to it easily. Now, depending on which one you have, some of them have a felt air filter and some of them have a paper air filter, and they just screw off and it seals around this plastic base here and keeps all the debris out. It's a pretty decent design if you have the actual Stihl air filter. Now, it's supposed to keep all the debris out of there, but when I removed my commercial tree cutter's air filter today, it was completely clogged to the max underneath with sawdust. And I was like, what is going on? So I asked, have you not cleaned your air filter lately? I mean, why is this so clogged up? You're gonna burn your chainsaw up. And he's like, no, I haven't ran it in a long time. In fact, while you had your shop closed down and was moving to your new shop, I took it to that repair shop down the street. And he put that brand new air filter on it. And I'm like, it is brand new. I blew it out just a little bit from the little bits of sawdust that was in it, but it still is brand new. Cleaned his saw up, didn't think much about it, but went to go put his air filter back on. And when I went to go put his air filter back on, screw it down here, it doesn't ever actually screw down. What is going on? And it's just wobbling around here. Well, that doesn't fit. Oh, I figured it out pretty quick. When he took it to the other repair shop and they put this brand new air filter on it, they bought an aftermarket. And unfortunately, if you could see the whole different size here, this one is way too big. When I measured it out, there is a 1/4 inch difference between the two. This one doesn't even have the rubber gasket on the inside like this one does to actually seal it to the air filter base. So thank goodness he didn't run his chainsaw that long and the choke lever broke on him, because he was really on his way to burning up his $500 chainsaw. So then that got me thinking, I know about tons of aftermarket Amazon parts that I stay away from because they do not work, and y'all might want to know about them too. Now, for the last 13 years, I've owned a small engine repair shop, and when we had our storefront for 12 years, we worked on over 2,000 pieces of equipment every single year, and we worked on pretty much everything. So I got to see what worked and what didn't on a lot of different units. Now, I'm not going to say I've never ordered an aftermarket part, because I've ordered tons of them through the years, whether my distributor was out of them, whether it was just a convenience thing, if I needed it next day and I didn't want to make a $250 order for my distributor. I wasn't a Stihl distributor, so maybe I needed a Stihl part and I didn't want to bother driving across town. I've ordered lots of aftermarket parts. Now, you might notice in my videos, a lot of times I give you OEM part numbers. And if it's a part that I truly believe you need to buy OEM, I will mention it in my video multiple times. Now, a lot of times I just will give you the part number. And from that, you can buy OEM, and if you don't want to and you want to take a chance on aftermarket, that's up to you. So today, like this air filter, I'm going to let you in on some Amazon aftermarket parts you do not need to buy. Now, before I move on, I do want to say that Air filters are pretty much okay to buy aftermarket. This is sort of an anomaly and just something you need to watch out for. Now, to start off with some of the most commonly purchased Amazon aftermarket buys to try to save money is the Briggs & Stratton Nikki and Walbro carburetors. These are sometimes $140. I know the one I sell is $129.99. Now, I know you can get them for 14 bucks. And for years I bought these. I would get them, I think back then they were 17, 20 bucks. I would charge the customer like $34.99 or $39.99, something like that. Totally worth it, and they worked fine. But about 6 years ago, something happened, and you might purchase one, and it worked just fine. I purchased a lot of them, and what I found is that 70% of the time, they wouldn't work straight out of the box. Now, I always try to kid it, but if a customer needs a carburetor, they gotta pay the price. Now, if you do want to chance it, go right ahead. I mean, it's not that hard to replace a carburetor, and Amazon takes return. So if you want to go ahead and try the aftermarket Nikki carburetor, I'll leave one in the description box below, but just letting you know, it might not work. I'll also leave the OEM one. Next is the single-cylinder Briggs & Stratton camshaft. If you have one of these, it's only a matter of time, darling. They have an issue with them. Everybody knows it. Terrell's done videos on the aftermarket camshafts also. I've told you multiple times, definitely buy an OEM camshaft if you're going to replace it. I highly recommend doing it yourself. I have an entire video showing you from the beginning to end how to do it. It's not really that hard. If I could do it, you can do it. I'll leave a link right up above. But for about a year, Briggs was completely out of camshafts. I had like 5 riders sitting at the shop just waiting on a camshaft that I couldn't do nothing with. So I tried aftermarkets, and I had ones that we did all that work to. Tore the engine off, removed the engine pulley, totally tore apart, did an oil change, put it back together, to find out the first start, the decompression trigger blew. They're junk. And that will cause you a lot of time, money, and frustration. Next is any 2-stroke carburetor on every common unit they sell, like for the Husqvarna 128LD or the Stihl carburetor. Now this goes on multiple things like the FS55, 45, 36, 46, the FS80, the FS85. These carburetors went on a ton of stuff. And I'm going to tell you, probably 70% of the time when I would order aftermarket, they would either have to be adjusted and would sort of run okay, or they wouldn't run at all. Now, like I said, you can try to order it. I mean, a brand new one is about $32. A aftermarket one is about $15. If you want to try the aftermarket, go for it. You can always return it. Now, the one thing I don't like about the aftermarket Husqvarna stuff, and it's the same if you buy any of their chainsaw aftermarket carburetors, it comes with this really weird fuel line, and it's sort of hard plastic. It's not as pliable as the Tygon line. And I have actually had units that whenever I tried to use this fuel line, the fuel would not go through it. I don't know why. It just would stop and would not travel through the line. I don't know. I'm not scientific enough to know the kind of suction, stuff about it, but it just won't let fuel go through it. You might buy one of these aftermarket carburetors, pop it on, and it work, but I promise you, you're going to have issues with it in 3 to 6 months. If not, next season, it's definitely going to go bad on you. There is one 2-stroke carburetor that I actually made a video on that you do need to buy aftermarket, and that's like on all the earthquake equipment, the augers and the tillers. Their carburetor is pretty much as junky as the aftermarket, so you might as well get the cheap one. Now, that's not the only time I've seen something that came with a carburetor mess up. A lot of times with these Stihl carburetors, they send an air filter, and the air filter should be flimsy, like you're able to bend it when it's new. And the air filters that come with those aftermarket carburetors are like made out of plastic, and they don't bend. They also don't let any air through. Some of them come with some real funky fuel filters. And guys, please don't use those Chinese spark plugs. Now I know what you're saying. You don't know what you're talking about. I bought an aftermarket part and it worked just fine. Well, let me show you proof that I've bought a lot of aftermarket parts. Now, every time you order one of those carburetor kits, they send you a Chinese spark plug. That's why I have a box of probably 1,000 knockoff Chinese spark plugs that I will never use, but I can't throw them away. I got to find some use for them. Not only that, they send those fuel lines. And after that one fuel line that messed up on me, I don't use any of this junk. I mean, I've had tons and tons of aftermarket carburetors, okay? And these are ones that come with these, you know, Nike carburetors. I'm telling you guys, I've bought a ton of them. I'm hoping my experience of trial and tribulation saves you a little time, money, and frustration. Now, one thing I've never had issues with is the aftermarket fuel shutoff valves. Everybody needs to put one on their unit just in case. You don't want to come back to your machine after it's been sitting over the winter and find a crankcase full of gas. It is the best way to go. Save a ton of time, money, and frustration by getting a fuel shutoff. I will leave a link in the description box below. Now, one time I decided to buy some fuel filters from one of my distributors, like I do all the time, and I never bought the actual Walbro brand fuel filters. I would get the aftermarket ones because they always worked. Now, the distributor I was using was not Rotary, my normal distributor. It was a distributor that sold Rotary parts, and I thought I was buying Rotary brand fuel filters, but when I got them, they looked slightly different, but I didn't think much about them. Now, these fuel filters went in all of the commercial backpack blowers that I sold to my customers, like the PB8010s or PB9010s. And at one point, I had a string of them coming in saying they weren't running correctly. And so I would change the fuel filter out first thing. And it still wouldn't run right. And so what do? I dig into the carburetor, I check the cylinder, I check the exhaust, I go through everything. And nothing is wrong with it. To come to think, maybe I should try a different fuel filter. I mean, that one did look sort of weird. And lo and behold, it ran perfect. It was just the fuel filter. I had already sold one to my commercial customer for him to put in his backpack blower, and I had 2 other backpack blowers that came back with the bad fuel filters. That's a little irritating when I wasn't saving any time, money, or frustration. So yeah, guys, this is my warning. I mean, you can definitely try those aftermarket parts, but remember, don't think that you have a part that's actually going to work all the time. It could definitely still be your issue. You could have had carburetor issues, bought a brand new aftermarket carburetor, and it not work. It could be a fuel filter and it not work. It could be your air filter and it's killing your machine. I just want you to be aware of what you're buying when you buy these aftermarket parts. Now, I'm going to take you over with me to my friend's house because I'm changing my Chickanic.com shop up just a little bit. Let's go. And a little behind the scenes today, I'm getting to hang out with my BFF, Catherine, and she's got a pretty cool gig where she is a inside branding consultant, which means she sells marketing products, which I need. Obviously, all I've been selling on my website is t-shirts and giving away stickers, and I really need to branch out. A lot of you guys have asked, so she's helping me with mugs, magnets,
koozies, keychains.
And we're getting those ordered today so I can put them on my Chickanic.com website. So if you need any kind of merchandise, go check her website out. I will leave a link in the description box below.
Thanks, guys.
So a while back, I made a video and showed you how you could have x-ray vision. Now, I know you still don't believe me that it is x-ray vision, but just wait. You are fixing to see behind my clothes. Let me show you. All right, guys, here we go. I'm bare and all. I am turning on the x-ray vision. I'm going to split screen it for you so you get a good up-close view. And I'm going to show you what I have underneath my clothes. All right? Christmas. It's me. Everybody knows what I look like. All right? See it? See it? Oh, but what's that? What is that? It's x-ray vision. Are you kidding me? And it has come in super handy with my new babies. So I could totally use this thing to check out my baby's cage here, make sure that they're getting enough heat. They're on week 2, so they have to stay around 90 degrees. So this is where their heat lamp is, 90.6, 90.1, perfection. They like to sit on top of their little brooder plate there. What we got here? Oop, come down a little bit. That white dot in the center is what I'm pointing at, and the degree in Fahrenheit is in the very top left corner, so we're at 91 there. So yeah, and then we check over here by their food to make sure that they got somewhere to escape from if they have to. Let me see, we got 80 degrees. Sweet little babies. And just so you know, that thermal imaging camera is $80 off right now. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Back back in the shop and I wanted to show you this. That is a lot of parts bins. I have not been an Echo dealer since last September, but I got a call last week and they said they had been watching my videos and noticed that I was storing all of my parts in cardboard boxes and wanted to know if I wanted a super good deal on 1,000 parts bins. And I did. Now I just gotta move all them parts into them. Fun. So guys, thanks again for tuning in to Chickanic. Hopefully this video saves you time, money, and frustration in the future. If you haven't found me at Facebook, find me at facebook.com/Chickanic. Find me on Instagram at TheRealChickanic or find me at Chickanic.com where you can get your own t-shirts, hoodies, and long sleeve shirts. Thanks guys, and have a great day.